Hello, I'm Dennis Racine with Racine-Web Design, and today we're going to take a tour of our Match Club software. I'd like to say first off that as a fellow matchmaker, I couldn't do this job without this software. It just simply makes the job just so much easier. So let's get into it. I'm going to go over to our Gold Country site, which is the club that I manage. So our software consists of a complete website, which allows you to have a news section, various resources like new member applications, new member packets, which is great for new people coming in, gives them all the information they need about the club. The bylaws are posted. We've got, of course, our board members. And then we've got things like stats, where people can come in and see where we stand as a club. And then, of course, the most important thing here is the schedule page. This is where members can sign up for matches, as well as inform you that they can't make a match or that they would rather be on standby and participate if needed. So they would come to this page, log in, and then they would go to all the various events and set their status. So on this particular event, I don't have my status set, but you can see that we've got a bunch of statuses set there, and then we have a few that have said they can't attend and some with no response. So for me, I can set my status here, and I can put in my name and email address, hit submit, and now my status is set. This would also invoke an email to you to let you know that somebody set their status, but now it's all set in the system. So with this, let's go over and look and see what this looks like on the other side, on the Matchmaker administration side of things. Of course, only select people will have access to this. And we're going to start over here on matches, which basically shows our schedule as we saw it there. We can filter by lots of different things up here. We can add new matches. We can show available dates. This is a nice little feature that allows you to basically show empty weekends alongside of the stuff that you have scheduled, so that you can simply say, well, yeah, we can do October 4th. We click on add new match, and then that date's already populated in here. Select the club that you're going to play, whether it's away or home, and the time. And then you can also send confirmation to that club that you've got that on their schedule. If it's a home event, you can also send an email to your local bowling alley, so they can confirm that you can have that date on their schedule. Likewise, we can edit existing events. So we can go in here and we can click edit, and then we can change all the information on that. Okay, so the way that the flow would go is once you've got a match configured, and I've got a fictitious event over here and down here. And so we can click setup, and this is where we'll set up the teams for this up and coming match. We can select each of the members here and click add selected, and it'll automatically add it to the teams. Or we can simply drag and drop people around and set our teams however we like. So if we do something like this, you can say, okay, well, we want these two people here. And then we can also see what the team averages is. You see, they're kind of all over the place right now because I messed around. But it should be, if all teams were created equal, it should be 650 should be the average. So with that information, I can kind of play around a little bit with my teams to try to get a little bit closer averages in there very easily. You can also set captains for each of the teams. So you can toggle certain people to be the captain of that team, which will put a little C next to the name, and that'll carry over into the paperwork as well. We use that as that's the person who's in charge of the pair, and we'll have all the paperwork and be in charge of making sure that either they fill it out or designate somebody to fill it out. Likewise, over here we've got a bunch of other information for you for when you're setting the players in here. So we can see when they signed up, when their last home match was, when their last away match. And we can also see what their traveling matches have been versus their home matches. So like this person over the last 21 games has traveled for 12 games and done 9 home games. And we can go back and look at their 26 and older season information as well. This is really, and this is all summarized over here on the left in the same fashion. Really helps to kind of get a feel for whether or not someone is traveling, which is, always a big deal. And as well as whether they're current on their dues. So it'll give you the balance there as well. So once we had this lineup is set, we can publish it. And when we do that, basically what that does is it puts it onto the website. So if we go back real quick and go back to our schedule and go look at this event, which is buried down here, we can see now that bowler assignments have been assigned, and we can see who's assigned to bowl for that particular weekend. So that differs from, say, one that isn't assigned yet, where it shows who's signed up so far and who hasn't, because there's no actual assignments done. So going back into that match again, we'll go into here. So the next step in this process would be we're going to send an assignments email to the club. And we can do that, and basically it's kind of a predefined template that you can modify. You can change any of the text in here that you like, but it shows all the people that are assigned. And we can send this to the entire membership, or we can send it to just the people that we've assigned, as opposed to sending it to everybody. And this is an option with all the emails that you can send out. You can dictate who you're going to send it to. So as the home club, we won't do anything here until we have a lineup from our visitors that are going to come to us. So let's go over to the visitor site. Okay. And this is the matching event. Okay, so I haven't set up anything yet for this, for the visitors yet. So let's go ahead and set these teams. Okay, and it looks like I need an extra person down here. So this person on standby. All right, so I would publish this and save this as the visitors. And then I have this option I can send to my lineup to our hosts. And we can do that by either clicking this orange button, or we can go down here and send the lineup to the Versus Club and do the same thing. And what that'll do is it'll come up and it'll say, okay, here's our lineup, verifies that this club is linked, which isn't, if it's a club that isn't using our software, it'll still send them this PDF with your lineup. So it still accomplishes the same goal. It's just, if they are using the same, our software, then it makes this super easy. So we're going to go ahead and send this now. All right, send it off. Now we're going to go back to Gold Country, who's the host. All right, and two things have happened now. When I go to the matches here and go down to set this match up now, I'll get this prompt that says, hey, the bowling dev has sent you a new lineup, which is the name of the other club. Do I want to add this in there? I said, yes, add or update my lineup. So now this right column is now our visiting teams. Okay, we can see all their lineups. Their averages are already put in there. We can see what the handicap difference is going to be. These are all pretty good within a few pins, but if I wanted to make a change, I could do that. I could say we'll make this team 1, and then boom, that'll pop that up in there and make that team 1 and that down to team 2. So at this point, I can just save the changes and go on to the next phase, which would be as the hosting team, I'm going to want to print my match forms. And so we'll select this from the menu. And then we have a bunch of forms that are customized for your club. And these will reflect your information. So we have a cost sheet here, which is just a nice little post sheet that whoever's running the match can fill out. In our case, this sheet goes back to the treasurer with all the monies that are received on the day and whatnot, all the fines and receipts for the checks that we wrote to the bowling alley and or checks that we received from the visiting club. Then we've got a team sheet, which is something that we can just put out on the table so people know what lanes they bowl in. Likewise, is a versus sheet, which just shows our visitors and where they're bowling. Then we have a most over sheet, which is something that some of the clubs use. We do use it, which is basically it's just kind of a side pot for people with the most over their average. Then, of course, the recap sheets, and this will have all the information in there. It'll have the handicaps already calculated, the whole bit. We also have fine envelopes. It needs to be customized for your club as far as what your fines are that you do. There's also some dues envelopes that you can come in here and print if you've got like a drop box or something like that for people to drop in their dues. So then meanwhile, over on the other site, the visiting site, if we go back into that same match, we can see here at the top that we sent the lineup on the particular date and time, and then it was accepted. So you know that they've gotten it and they've put it into their system. And that'll only appear if they're also using our software. But this would always, the sent date will be there. All right, so let's go, and we're going to use the dev site for some of this here. And we'll talk about, actually, let's go and I'll show you some of the emails that go out. So, so this is the assignment email that when you send out the assignment email, this is what it'll look like. I'll show all the assigned bowlers. In this case, this was a 2-day event, so it has listings for each day, and then all the information, and of course links back to the website for more information. Okay, so now we've got all the initial paperwork printed out for our match. Our match is now complete, and it's time to enter in the results. So now what we do is we go back to our match list, and we go to the particular match, and we say enter match results. And here we'll put in our wins and losses, and then we'll put in all of our scores. I personally use the our most over sheet to do this because it's all in the correct order, and it makes it really easy to just go through here, and you can just tab through each of the different fields and type in the scores. Once you're all complete, you just click save. It saves the scores, and then you'll have an option here that'll appear once it's saved to email the results to the membership, and that'll look a little bit like this. I'm just gonna do it from here. So from here we would say, just review the results, and when we click on preview email, what the email is going to look like, and we can select who we want to send it to. In most cases, on a results thing, I would send it to all the active members, but you can use that at your discretion. The email will look something like, what's that? This one? No, this one. So this would be an example of what the membership would see. So all the high games, series, most over, and then all the individual scores, as well as the wins and losses. All right, so let's move on to clubs. So the club list is where you define all the clubs that you bowl, and their information, and you can maintain any updates, like when a matchmaker changes or something like that. You can also look over here on the right and see when the last time is that you bowled that club and whether or not you've got anything scheduled in the future. This one, for example, has got one scheduled in December 26th, but all these other ones don't have anything scheduled, and that's because this is the dev site. Now, if we go and edit this club, this happens to be Gold Country, and first thing that it'll do, because it's a linked club, is it'll compare the information that you have versus the information that they've set within their site. And in this particular case, we can see that some of the information is slightly out of date or just slightly different. In the case of the website, it's really the same. The street, just missing street, but you can see that they've got a new lineage here. So you can choose to skip this and keep your old information, or you can apply the changes, which will update your information to match theirs. And then you've got all the information here. This is their address, contact information, the link status. And then what's really cool is you can go in here and you can see the stats with this club, the last home and away, your total wins and losses against that club, as well as the individual match history with that club and what your wins and losses were. This got some blanks in here just because this is the dev site, so some of these matches, none of these matches actually took place. And likewise, you can email the club from here too, which is a nice little thing. You can just shoot them an email if you need, if you had a question or something. So then we go on to members. And here you'll have all your members listed with all their contact information, as well as some stats about those particular members. Here we can see how many games, home and away, what their average is, etc. So if I go into one of the users, I can get even more detailed information about that user. I can see what their averages were, last year as well as this year. I can see their 21 game average versus their season average. System supports, both types of averages. We can go into match details, and we can see each match that they've participated in over the last 21 games. Likewise, we can set some of these, we can set a user or a member inactive. So if they're injured or are taking a leave of absence of some sort, or they've just quit, you can set them inactive, which retains all their information. So if they come back, you can basically reactivate them again, and they'll be back in the system, and you'll have all that historical information. So these, for example, are all the inactive here. All the people in red are inactive. Then we've also got available a complete dues system, which would be used by your treasurer. This allows the treasurer to create a charge for all your members on a monthly basis by just clicking a single button. They put in what it is. It's a charge, $10. It's for dues, and it'll create the transaction for all the members. Okay, and then they can send out statements every month that would give them all their information about their account. We can go into an individual, and we can set their payments. We can add a transaction. We can say they've made a payment, or maybe we made another charge, like maybe they bought an extra shirt or something like that. We can put that in here to make sure that the account is all balanced. And when the treasurer sends out a statement, they'll get something that looks a little bit like this, which will show all of their history, all their payments and charges. The treasurer can also put in a little note about what's going on this month. And then there's some blanket payment instructions, as well as some up and coming event information. So so every month we send out a statement to all of our memberships, so they know exactly where they stand, and it's really helped out keeping people current. So it's a real nice system. All right, and then the final screen here is our averages screen. This basically gives you all the possible information in a list format that you can use at the end of season or end of year to give out awards, or to submit to USBC, whatever it is that you need to have. So that's our quick overview of the major features of the Bowling Matchmaker software. There's plenty of other small little details that I'm sure that I glazed over or missed in this video, but I hope it gives you a good idea of what's possible and how much easier it is to be a matchmaker when using this software. So contact us if you have any questions, or to get your club set up with software. I promise you won't regret it. All right, this is Dennis. I'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Bye.